Perfect.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 28 of the Bright Lights Podcast. I'm your host, Deegs, joined as always by my two wonderful co-hosts, Mahoney
What up, guys?
and PT.
How's everyone doing?
PT, it's good to have you back on the podcast.
How did midterms go, buddy?
You had to miss last time because of a midterm. I just want to know how that midterm went, how you did on it, and
Great,
man.
Great. I actually did so well that the teacher actually asked me to take the test again. I got 100% on the first test, and the second one I got a 74. So I don't know how she's gonna take that, but we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's better than what you got on your Excel test the first time.
Yeah. 23. So
Which Mahoney passed on his first try. So
yeah, I got a 40, so that's cool.
if anyone's looking for an Excel expert, Mahoney's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. He's not an expert at many things, but he is an expert in Excel.
Excel, I got that locked down.
No one cares about us and our academic endeavors, however. They just want to somewhat hear us talk about sports.
Yeah.
So we got a football and baseball podcast today. We haven't talked about football in a long time, so we're going to bring that back. And then towards the end, me and Mahoney and probably PT are going to talk a little bit about some baseball shit that's been going on. So without further ado, as always, I hate wasting your time and our time. PT, go ahead and get into it, buddy.
Yeah, so we haven't touched on football in a long time. Not much has happened. A little stuff. The first thing we can touch on is the AAF failing. This kind of touched home to us because Deegs San Diego Fleet was a big part of that. But there were some interesting things that came with it. It happened very quick, I believe, and it happened. The separation was kind of interesting too, to see how they kind of just like you have basically to the end of the week of when they announced it midweek to say to find a new home. So I want to know if you guys have any comments on that and see what do you guys think about it.
Diggs, go ahead. This hits home for you, buddy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know. It was fun for like 3 weeks, and then once the Padres started up, I kind of stopped giving a shit. I mean, I watched the games, to be honest with you, but I kind of stopped giving a shit. I think the AAF, while I didn't think it would last forever, I mean, I thought it was really good for football players. Like after they've signed, I think like 34 of their players have already signed with NFL teams. The Steelers have picked up a few guys too, so that's pretty cool. I understand where they're coming from, like folding, like they didn't have enough money. I mean, it makes sense. But I think the way that the league handled it was kind of shitty, like kicking guys out of their hotels within a week. Guys who are on the disabled list or the injured reserve or whatever the hell you want to call it, they're not getting any medical compensation or anything. They're not getting paid and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know. It's unfortunate just because it's good for football. I mean, it's good for guys to have an opportunity to play and develop their skills going into training camp, but it's whatever. I mean, that's the only reason why like it truly sucks. Because like I mean, there's so many talented players that had the opportunity to show what they could do, and they did, and that was taken away from them.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Diggs. My biggest takeaway from this, it's kind of like minor league baseball in a sense, where they aren't getting paid a lot of money, and sometimes they got to figure out where they're going to sleep, just like how the AAF did to their players. I think that's the biggest show of what the AAF kind of was. It didn't work out, and all of a sudden they tell their players, you have 2-3 days to find a home. They get paid a lot. I mean, it's not like they could just go and buy or rent a house. I bet you most of them actually just moved back home. I mean, it's a tough situation. But like you said, a lot of them signed with the NFL. So the AAF wasn't a complete failure in that sense.
No, I mean, it's kind of like minor league baseball is so successful. Like, I understand that minor league baseball players don't make a lot of money, but it's probably like the best example of young talent getting developed in any pro sport to go from like for MLB teams, like the G League. How often do we see guys go to the G League, develop, come out to the NBA, and be pretty good players? Doesn't happen a lot. The NFL doesn't really have a minor league system. I guess you could say the college football was. The AAF is probably the closest thing it's had to a minor league system ever.
Definitely.
But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's unfortunate. It sucks that there wasn't a lot of interest in it, but it's over. And now we just got to move on.
No, yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys anymore. I think we definitely all kind of saw that this was not working out in the beginning when the stadiums weren't being as filled as they expected them to be. I also think that it served its purpose, though. Like you said, 34 or whatever people signed with actual NFL teams, I think that's unreal and that's really good. And I think it served its purpose, really. It does suck to see that a thing like that was able to produce that many players to be signed had to end. But it just didn't look like it was going in the right direction, and that like it had much interest, as Deke said. But I think that's all we have for that. Like we said, I think that's our last shout out to the San Diego Fleet. So go Fleet, baby.
Go Fleet.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. baby.
Sir.
The next thing, with the draft coming up on the 25th, Thursday, we've got a lot of things coming on. I think the one centralized kind of theme that I see all over is what's going to happen with him. They say they might go to first with the Cardinals. Some say that the Cardinals are interested in that. So you guys got thoughts on that?
Yeah. I was one of the people that thought there was no way the Cardinals would take him. But now as things are kind of progressing, and that thing happened with the Cardinals where they released their schedule video and Josh Rosen was nowhere to be found. You would think that a team would center their video around their quarterback, but he wasn't in it. Therefore, I actually do believe that the Cardinals are going to take Murray with the first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, quick thing on that Rosen thing, it's actually really funny. They released their schedule video without him in it. They deleted it, and then they released another one today with him in it. I just watched it like an hour ago. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting right there. There's a few things to note with Kyler Murray. He had a visit with the Redskins scheduled for this week. He canceled it. The Redskins sit at pick 15. I think him canceling it means that he believes that he'll be gone by then, which he probably will be, considering that there's a few quarterback needy teams ahead of him. I just don't think Arizona's going to take him because they've been kind of like wishy-washy. I mean, at first it was like, all right, they're going to take him. This is Cliff Kingsbury's guy. Fuck Josh Rosen. Then they started bringing in like Bosa. They started bringing in Quinnen Williams. Josh Allen went on a visit there too. I think it's really interesting. If I was to bet money right now, like Vegas odds, where the fuck's Kyler Murray get drafted, I'd probably put the Cardinals. But a team I would certainly look at potentially either moving up to second or even trading up for the first pick is the Oakland Raiders, because they have 3 first-round picks. Kyler Murray just went on a visit there. John Gruden had a boner the whole time about it when he was talking about him, like he always does about every single quarterback that he's ever spoken to. But the most intriguing part is they could put together a package with the 24th pick, the 27th pick, and some future picks, trade up to number 1, potentially even keep number 4, depending on how lucrative they want to get, and take him at 1, and then draft like a keystone player at 4, similar to what the Browns did a few years ago when they had last year when they had the first pick and they took Baker, and then they took Denzel Ward at 4. So it's just interesting. He's definitely the talk of the draft right now. The draft is in a week, which is pretty exciting, and we'll see what happens with Kyler, but I don't know. It's just something to keep an eye out for.
No, yeah, I've been on the fence the whole time of this thing. In the beginning, I thought that there's no way that the Cardinals go with him in the beginning, and then I started looking into stuff, reading stuff, watching stuff, and I'm like, all right, this might actually happen. This could be Cliff Kingsbury's guy. And then recently, I thought, you know what? They have a really good opportunity here to get a lot more draft picks, like you're talking about their packages that could be put together for this. And I think 100% that that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to trade their first-round pick away and still get a lot more picks. So I think they could actually do really well in this draft if they trade up or trade out of first.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Another thing too, with the draft being so close, we did do a mock draft 1.0 in one of our episodes already. If you guys want to go back and check that out. I think we were talking about doing a 2.0 here before the draft starts up. Maybe we can get another episode up and going with that. But just keep an eye out for that. We might be doing that sooner or later. Just a couple more things to touch on too. Kind of small but kind of big too. Jordan Howard This one kind of hits home for us. Was traded. This was a little bit ago, but we weren't able to have time to talk about it. I thought Jordan Howard was the guy for a while, but I also thought that about Langford, and then Jordan Howard came in and took that position. And then Howard came into the season, and Howard just didn't seem to fit in Nagy's system. Even towards the end of the season, when we started to pick up yards and carries, it still didn't seem like it was just meshing as well. A lot of people are complaining that they didn't think they got good enough for him, but the issue is I think they just needed to get him out of there. To be honest with you, I hate to say it because I love Jordan Howard. I think he was a great asset to the team, but I think it was a great move because I think we can draft a pretty legitimate running back. They have a really good running back class this year in the draft, and Ryan Pace is known for those late round running backs, known for Langford and Howard.
Yeah, you're right, PT. Definitely hit close to home. At first, I was pretty upset when I saw it. I didn't feel like we got enough. But then all the Twitter responses came in. I was looking through Twitter, seeing people's explanations. It made a lot of sense, actually, to trade Jordan Howard for the main reason that you just said, PT. It was just time to get him out of there. We know last year, barely touched the ball, barely really did anything for the offense. Sure, he was awesome 2 years ago. But with Nagy's system, this is not going to work out. Wish him the best in Philly. That Philly team is going to look very good with Jordan Howard in the backfield. I bet he's going to work fantastic for them. It works for the Phillies, works for the Bears. Bears got something they needed to get rid of. Philly got something they needed. It just works out. It's a good trade either way. But, yeah, what do you think, Deegs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what the Bears roll out opening weekend at running back. Obviously, Tariq's probably the starter at this point. But I don't think Tariq's the kind of guy that gets 15 to 20 carries a game. So then you got guys like, I believe Mike Davis is their backup running back right now, right?
Yes.
Mike Davis, yeah. I mean, he's kind of similar to Jordan Howard in like body stature and makeup. He catches the ball a little bit better.
Yeah, he can catch the ball way better.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see if they end up drafting somebody in the draft. There's some sneaky good running backs later on. I know they had Benny Snell in for a visit a while ago. But it'll just be interesting to see what their dynamic is moving forward. Because I mean, I think Tariq's a good player, but you give him 15 to 20 carries. I don't care how elusive he is. That body, that small stature is going to start breaking down eventually. So we'll see. But I think he'll fit well with Philly. In that kind of, the Eagles like to run the ball, despite they have a pretty solid quarterback under center. They like moving the ball. They have a good offensive line. They're kind of known for a running back by committee because they lost J.J. last year, and the year that they won the Super Bowl, they were going with 3 running backs. So it's going to be interesting to see if they just give Jordan Howard full go. Here you go, buddy, take it over, or if they keep kind of platooning their running backs. But yeah, good trade both sides. The Bears got something of value for a guy who just really wasn't getting it done for their offense.
Yeah, and then kind of the bigger aspect of the two that we're talking about tonight is Russell Wilson giving the Seahawks a deadline. Now, that deadline was a couple days ago, and I remember going to bed, hitting me when I got in my bed, like, there hasn't been a deal been put in place yet. And then I remember waking up and seeing that he announced from his bed with his wife that they were able to come out with a record-breaking deal for him. I know this raised a lot of suspicion, is if does he really want to be in Seattle? No, he just wanted to get paid. He's an elite quarterback, and he just wanted to get paid.
Get that moolah, baby.
And he knew, I know this, and like I said, everyone's questioned, did he want to be in Seattle? Yeah, he wanted to be Seattle, and he knew that Seattle would pay him that money. He just wanted to make sure that it was set in stone before they got going and got everything ready to go.
Yeah, this situation actually kind of ties things together with me. If PT, you probably know about all this, Deegs probably not. But the Chicago Blackhawks with Brent Seabrook, right? He's a fan favorite, just like how Russell Wilson is in Seattle. The Blackhawks overpaid Seabrook to make sure they stayed because he was a fan favorite. I think this is kind of the case here in Seattle. No doubt Russell Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But to see what he did to Seattle and put them against that wall and make Seattle pay, it kind of shows that Seattle not only needs his talent, but he needs him for the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with a guy who, I mean, basically last year took a below average roster in the Seattle Seahawks, willed them to the playoffs, has been consistently, regardless of how you look at it, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for the last 4 or 5 years. I have no problem with that guy slapping his cock right on the table and being like, look, fucking pay me or I'm not coming back. I have no problem with that. He's earned the right to do that because of how good he is. And I'm glad that Seattle paid him because I'm telling you right now, if they would have let him walk, whoever their general manager is, fired instantly fired, gone. Have a good one. When you let a guy like that walk, that's just detrimental completely. They would have lost fans. I completely agree with you. When you let a guy who's done that much for the team walk, you're going to lose fans. But at the same time, you saw what he did last year with a below-average roster, with half their wide receiving core hurt the majority of the year, with considerably a below-average offensive line, which he's had, essentially speaking, for the last 4 years. And they still managed to make the playoffs and play in a pretty competitive game against the Seahawks in the first round. That's a guy that's got to get paid. Is he worth the highest paid quarterback in NFL history? No. But in this day and age where quarterbacks are making more money, I'm pretty sure Mahomes will have that title in a few years, if not by the end of next year, at the rate that he's going. So, good deal for Wilson. He got his bank. Good deal for the Seahawks. And yeah, man, that's pretty much all I can say about that.
No, yeah, and I think the last thing we're going to touch on here for the NFL is that the 2019 schedules were officially released. I can't remember, yesterday or 2 days ago?
2 days ago. I think it was yesterday, actually.
No, it was yesterday,
yeah. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go through the primetime games and kind of just point out what kind of what games to watch out for and what we think about them. I have 4 in particular. Week 4, Cowboys at the Saints. I think this will be kind of one of the first tests for the Cowboys. They were in the playoffs obviously last year, and they really didn't show what they were really made of. I think that the Cowboys definitely need to, if they want to show everybody that they're legit, that they win this game. And I think that that's going to be their first test of the year. Moving on to week 5, right back to back, we have the Colts with the Chiefs. The Colts lost to the Chiefs last year, if I can remember, right in the playoffs.
They got bodied.
Yeah,
it was like it was a murder.
And it kind of disappoints us because we all thought Andrew Luck was going to be able to take them to the promised land, and that didn't happen. Like I said, I think the Colts are in the same position as the Cowboys. This is going to be their first test, and they have to show everybody they're legit too. And then we'll move on. Week 11, this one hits a little close to home too because we got the Bears at the Rams. Obviously, the Bears won against the Rams last year at home, but now the Bears have to go out to warmer weather. This is going to be a way better, way closer, more legit game. The Bears are going to be tested here. The Bears are going to be tested all year. They got a tough schedule.
Very tough.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a really good game, starting to move towards the end of the year where the playoff push is going, and then we move into week 14. Seahawks at the Rams. Another Rams game. I think that the Seahawks if they can improve with the draft this year, I think that they could most definitely put the Rams on their heels in this game. Seahawks are Russell Wilson's always dangerous at the end of the year, as we saw last year. So this could be another really good game to watch out for.
Yeah, dude. There's a shit ton of good games this year. I have a few that I just have jotted down here. My first one's going to be the very first game of the season: the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. The NFL's 100th season. You started out with probably the best rivalry in the league. I think the Bears swept the Packers last year. They finally ended their reign of winning the division. But Rodgers is going to come out healthy. We saw what Rodgers did last year to the Bears after they were put in a fucking padded cell.
And he was hurt during that.
Yeah, he was injured. He comes out and just fucking flails his 13-inch cock everywhere and wins that game. My second game is going to be the Mexico game, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. It is in Mexico, however. Divisional game. I think one of these two teams wins the division. High-powered offenses, not the best defenses going against each other. So that's always a fun game. There's definitely some fireworks that's going to be played there. I think the 2 best games of the year this year right now, right off the bat, Week 16, Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Chicago Bears. You take the best quarterback in the league last year and put him up against the best defense in the league last year, and we'll see what the fuck happens there. And then another game that I'm looking out for here is the Green Bay Packers at the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 8, Sunday Night Football. Arguably the most talented quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers, going up against the guy who's looking like the predecessor in Pat Mahomes at Kansas City. You know that's going to be a great game. Kansas City is a real tough place to play at. There's going to be fireworks. The Packers look good on paper this year. The Chiefs obviously favorites in the AFC to come out. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of good football that's going to be played this year. There's a lot of good teams this year.
Yeah, I think that ends it for our football segment here. I'm just going to leave you with this, guys. Did Robert Kraft really eat that Asian girl's ass?
Possibly. You never know.
Dude, yeah, dude. I think he did. I think Robert Kraft's the kind of guy to eat Asian girls' ass. No doubt in my mind.
Interesting. Yeah.
He's like 70, dude. 70-year-old dudes love Asian chicks.
For some reason, they have that fetish. I don't know.
Yeah, just like you do, PT. All right, Mahoney. Let's get into this.
All right. Let's get into some baseball. We'll start with the negative because here at Bright Lights Pod, we love the positive. So we're gonna end on the positive today. Talk about the Red Sox sucking dick, Deegs. I know you're excited to talk about it. Go ahead.
Okay. I wasn't really concerned about the Red Sox because every team every year there's teams that start out slow and come back and finish fine. Last year it was the Dodgers. Until this past weekend, when a guy who just went 0 for 53 and set the record comes in and just lights that fucking stadium on fire and rakes up their pitching staff. I have some stats pulled up. I think their offense has been fine this year. They're averaging like 4.5 runs a game, which is not awful. It's not good, but it's not bad either. JD Martinez is coming around. Mookie will come around. He's an elite player for a reason. Xander Bogaerts is having a good year. Mitch Moreland's been raking for them. Their offense,
especially Mitch Moreland, he's been shocking this year.
Yeah, their offense is going to be just fine. The biggest concern, and I think now, even though we're like 20 games in, it's time to start getting concerned about this, is their fucking pitching staff, dude.
Awful.
This is what opposing hitters are slashing against their pitching staff. 266 batting average with a 340 OBP and a 490 slugging. That's pretty high. That's pretty high. To put it in perspective, the team with the lowest batting average against in the entire league is the Tampa Bay Rays, and they're sitting at 199. So the Red Sox pitching staff is giving up 67 points higher than the lowest pitching staff in the entire league is.
That's so bad.
In 20 games, actually not even 20 games, in 19 games, they've given up 34 home runs and 170 hits, okay? With an ERA as a whole staff, this includes their rotation and their bullpen, of a 6.01, second highest in the league, only behind the Baltimore Orioles, who are basically a AAA roster. They've only they've only had 4 quality starts, which means they've only had a starting pitcher go 6 or more innings 4 times this year. And they're averaging, on average, as a staff, 1.5 batters to get on base per inning. Their starting rotation ERA is like an 8. Chris Sale has been fucking terrible
so
this
bad
year.
Since that extension.
His fastball velocity is like sitting like 90 to 91.
I don't want to say anything, but early signs of
He's hurt. He's hurt. He's
Yeah.
hurt. He's got to be hurt, dude. He's got to be hurt. That guy typically sits like 96 to 97.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's in the low. He's barely hitting low 90s. I think his highest fastball velo this year is like 93 or 94, which is absurd. Nathan Eovaldi's been fucking atrocious. Rick Porcello
Yeah, he's
sucks.
on my fantasy team just giving me the cock. He really is, dude. It's
He's
awful.
been awful.
His
Rick
fastball looks like the flattest fastball I've ever seen.
Their best pitcher this year, surprisingly, has been David Price, and he even he has like an ERA of 7.
Well,
He's
did
not
you
even
hear what
fucking-
he said today in an interview
Yeah, about Martinez and Mookie.
about them getting traded?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's just talk about that for like 30 seconds because I think he's the dumbest person ever for saying that.
You don't want to say that out loud, dude. That
Never.
Just adds, like there was already a fire, and David Price just decided to fill up a fucking bucket full of gasoline
And
and
just fucking
dump
toss it.
on that fucking fire.
Well, and then he saying that puts it on the general manager. Dombrowski came out and said, of course, it's not true at all. It's not true. They're not trading him. They said
They
that.
better not fucking trade him.
Well, he did say this though, which kind of made it interesting. Like this is what I mean. It just puts him in a bad spot because everything he says is going to be analyzed, and he's got to say the right things. And he kind of didn't because he said, if we do get to that point, it's not out of the question.
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing.
Yeah, but knowing Boston fans, you can't say that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can't say that, and knowing Boston fans, you probably can't even fucking trade them. Because the second that they trade one of those two, they're gonna stop. They're gonna stop going to games. They're just gonna stop going to games, and they're gonna have no reason to watch the team. It's gonna be the end of the world. But I'm telling you right now, they are so fucking lucky that the New York Yankees are banged up to shit right now. Because if it wasn't for that, I honestly think they would probably already be out of the playoff race. If the Yankees were fully healthy with how good Tampa Bay is playing right now, and Tampa Bay, I don't think they're going to slow down at all.
No, I don't think so either.
The Red Sox would be fucked. So they have like until the Yankees get back to full health, they need to figure this shit out, or they're not going to make the playoffs this year, and it's going to be the biggest disappointment in all of baseball. They have the worst run differential in all of baseball, and they have a lineup full of like 4 or 5 all-stars.
Yeah, it's insane. Again, their offense is doing really well. Their pitching has just been so bad.
And dude, like, I can't even tell you who's coming out of their bullpen. Like, I cannot believe.
I don't know most of these names.
I cannot believe that this team didn't try to retain Joe Kelly and Craig Kimbrell.
Seriously, no effort given at all.
I would have been like, look, dude, I'll fucking buy you a house, a yacht, and as many strippers as you want to just stay here so we can fucking win something. Because their window is now. And
they must have told Joe Kelly something because he was out of there so quickly to go to Los Angeles.
Exactly. Yeah, he was one of the first guys to sign, too. But, I mean, it's – we might be overreacting, but this pitching staff is a legitimate concern.
I don't think we're overreacting. They got to get their shit together.
They need to address it now or they're fucked.
They really are. Because what's their record right now? Like 6-10 or something? It's not good.
They're 6-13.
Jesus. They need to get that fixed very quickly. Very, very quickly. Do you know who doesn't need to get stuff fixed very, very quickly? Actually, wait. Are we away from all the negatives?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's get to the positive right away with my baby boy, Jock Peterson.
Oh, my God.
Batting average is not there. He's batting like 250, but he is hitting.
Sounds about right.
He is hitting fucking nukes.
Didn't he just hit a walk-off the other day?
Yeah, it was a comeback game against the Reds, yep. 2-run bob to win it. Just, baby boy, keep doing you. You're doing great. Daddy's proud of you. I'm proud of you, Jock.
He almost went yard today, too. It went foul, though. He's 0 for 2.
He's on my fantasy team, so.
Now he's batting 238.
All right. Close enough. Still doing good in my eyes.
He could do nothing and still be doing good in your eyes because you fucking love that guy.
Very true. Okay. Talk about the Shy Sox a little bit here. Let's talk about little Timmy A.
This could be viewed as negative.
It could be.
Why didn't we get this out of the way? That's on you.
Well, here's the thing.
It's on me. I don't know if it was considered negative.
I don't know if anyone here considers it negative, though.
You don't think him getting drilled after doing that?
Yeah. No, but the way that people are, I think the reason this got into the spotlight is negative, and I don't believe that we think it's negative.
If you have been living under a rock and have not been paying attention to what is going on, yesterday afternoon, Tim Anderson of the Chicago White Sox, shortstop Tim Anderson, also on my fantasy team, hit a fucking bomb of a home run.
Yeah, I was watching the game. As soon as that pitch was thrown and as soon as it left his bat,
gone. Like that was a cock shot, dude.
Mm-hmm. No, it was literally right down the middle. When I saw the replay, I was like, "Oh, the pitch must have leaked inside or something." It was literally right down the middle.
And then he turns around, stops for a minute, and just javelin tosses his bat into the ground. And then runs the bases. So, I mean, that's cool.
Well,
everybody likes hitting home runs.
Yeah, here's the other thing, too. Before we go into this conversation, this is not the first time that he's ridiculously pimped a ball, a home run. I remember the first one he hit this year, he turned around.
I remember this, too.
He turned around, looked at the dugout, third base dugout, and probably said a good full sentence to the dugout, probably ran back-trotted halfway down the line, and then continued his trot.
Yeah,
mind right now, Tim Anderson is on fire. He's hitting like fucking 430, and he's breaking.
It's fantastic.
So in his next at-bat, he goes up there, and in typical fashion, he gets fucking drilled. I think he was in the elbow, right?
Rib area.
Rib.
Yeah.
So he gets drilled in the rib, and he has some words to say to, I believe, Brad Keller?
Yes.
Brad Keller. We don't even know his fucking name, but continue.
No, it's Brad Keller.
No, I know it's his name, but I'm saying, though, little puss boy.
And he has some words to say to him. Martin Maldonado gets in the way. The bench is clear. The two managers started going at it, so that was
I loved that. That was the best part, yeah.
And then Joe West, being the fucking dumbass,
he hates the White Sox. He has so many run-ins with the White Sox.
Tim Anderson out of the game. Just tosses him out. So, adding again, taking that gasoline onto a fire and just fucking dumping it on. The most irrelevant player in baseball, Randall Grichuk, decides to go on Twitter and tweet, if you act like you've done this once or twice before. And then Tim Anderson tweets, bruh, put a name on it or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
And then Randall Grichuk fucking replies, like, oh, I wasn't talking about you. But he tweeted it like 30 minutes after this whole thing.
Like, that, just idiot, dude. He's such an idiot.
So I'm going to take the lead on this one.
All right, go ahead.
And because this happened to me, Mahoney, you know about this. PT, I don't know if you do. I was pitching yesterday in my college baseball game, and I come into the top of the 8th inning in a 1-1 ball game, in a must-win game against a conference, a pretty solid conference team. I'm pretty sure you guys play them this year. And first pitch I gave up. Dawn, absolute like moonshot, right over left field. Next batter, first pitch, kid hits the ball into right field for a single. The third pitch of my outing, a changeup at the ankles. Kid takes it and just demolishes it over left field. And he bat flipped the fuck out of it, dude. So I threw 3 pitches and gave up 2 home runs, basically. Nice. And I wasn't mad at all. I was not mad at all that kid hit a home run. That either of them hit a home run off me. They were going crazy. Their dugout was going crazy. They were yelling shit, and I was mad at myself. And if I had stayed in the game, because I got pulled right after, I would not have thrown at somebody because I'm not a little bitch. And I understand that if someone's going to hit a ball 500 feet off me, it's my fault. So even as a pitcher, I am fairly upset that this jackass no-name who's like probably been in the big leagues for 2 years is throwing at a guy who is currently hitting like fucking 700 and is setting the league on fire. So yeah, dude. And then Randall Grichuk can go fuck himself. He's the most irrelevant baseball player ever to ever play the game. And I don't know why he's commenting on these things, but Tim Anderson did absolutely nothing wrong.
Yeah, so keeping with that, I want to talk about one thing. I just left the room to watch the video. Marcus Stroman talked in an interview today about this situation. He had no problem. Huh?
He had no problem with
it, he
right?
said, you know what? He said this is a business. There's fans involved. You have to get the fans excited. I mean, it's part of the business, dog. It's part of doing stuff to make the fans happy, getting baseball popular. This is what I don't get about baseball. Their biggest thing right now is getting the game popular. We don't have enough fans as everybody. A couple things to fix it. One of them, bat flips. Tim Anderson getting ejected made no sense. Joe West is just a White Sox hater. He's been a White Sox hater his whole life. My White Sox fans, you probably know this. One of the examples is the Mark Burley pickoff move. Long story, just going to leave it be. But again, just like you said, Deegs, I don't think Timmy did anything wrong. It just aggravates me.
Dude, and then going back to Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman described this perfectly. He said, yeah, I have no problem with people doing that, but then hitters can't be upset if he does like his little shimmy thing or strut after he strikes guys out. I was watching a video on Twitter today of, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, Jason Grilli against Carlos Stanton, back when Stanton was on the Marlins still. And I think it was the 8th inning of a night game, and Grilli strikes him out in a big situation. I think guys on first and third in like a 1-run ball game, and he goes nuts on the. He's like celebrating his ass off, whatever. The very next game, Jason Grilly's on the mound, and Giancarlo Stanton hits a fucking
Oh,
dog.
he dicked it, yeah.
And nothing. No words were said. Jason Grilly didn't get mad. Stanton even mocked him by celebrating the way that he did.
Yep.
And nothing. He just ran around the bases, went in the dugout, and they moved on. That's how it should be.
100%.
The biggest thing that baseball needs to do about this is this shit. This is what pisses me off. Tim Anderson bat flips, right? Everybody's going to see that, dude. That's going to go everywhere. That was the best bat flip I've ever seen in my entire life. It's right up there with one of the better bat flips I've ever seen, ever. And I've been watching baseball for a really long time. That is a huge marketing plus right there. You get a guy right there in Tim Anderson that has so much swagger and has the balls to do that, knowing that everybody's going to see it. And Major League Baseball lets jagaloons like Joe West throw that guy out for no reason. That is the problem. They always say let the kids play, but they don't let them play.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking stupid. It needs to be fixed because all these stupid things like the pitch clock and the fucking lowering the mound or moving the mound back or everything that they've done
is
to
just
try
wrong.
and make the game more enjoyable isn't gonna make the game more fucking enjoyable. What is a pitch clock going to do? It's going to make the game like 15 minutes less. It's going to make the game 15 minutes quicker. Who gives a fuck? It's 15 minutes. What's going to make the game more enjoyable is a guy hitting a fucking ball into the Allegheny River, standing there, watching it, and then flipping the shit out of his bat. Because that's fucking fun. People like to watch guys celebrate. It's awesome. It's amazing.
It's a good feel. Like fans, when they see that with their own team, it gives them a good feeling. Now,
hell yeah, dude.
Here's an interesting point that I haven't seen anybody really bring up, but we saw. Everybody probably saw on Twitter as soon as this home run happened. Everybody went back and they found Alcides Escobar.
I saw that. I just retweeted it before we were podcasting.
Pimping a home run, and what I have to say about that is everybody does it.
Exactly.
So what makes it right for a pitcher to just throw at him? Even when his player's on his own team. And he probably likes it when Alcides Escobar did that and when players do that because it helps out the team. It's a big momentum switch. Just let them celebrate and stop. Just stop.
Do you want to know why I think hitters have a right to bat flip? Do you have any idea? Go on Pitching Ninja for 5 minutes on Twitter and see how hard it is to hit a major league pitcher's baseball. Do you have any idea how hard it is to hit like a 98-mile-an-hour fastball or to hit like a slider that starts at your fucking kneecaps and finishes it in the other batter's box? You have any idea how hard it is to even make contact with that ball, nonetheless hit it as far as major league hitters do? Like if you have the God-given ability or talent or whatever that 99.9% of the world doesn't, to hit a baseball that's coming at you from 60 feet 6 inches away at 100 miles an hour and to hit that ball 440 feet, then you have all the right to bat flip the fuck out of it. Celebrate all you want because you can do something that literally 99.9% of the entire population cannot do.
Exactly.
That is so beyond impressive that you can do whatever the fuck you want.
No, yeah. I just have one thing to say. And it's been actually like, this actually kind of like, it makes no sense to me. Who the fuck doesn't want baseball to be fun?
Exactly.
Like, it blows my mind. The
fact that you got hurt.
You're a fucking Major League Baseball player? Why the fuck are you tweeting that? Are you telling me that you have never hit a ball so well that you just feel so good that you just want to sit there and watch it?
Exactly.
Like, dude, okay, I was listening to I don't remember who the fuck said it. It was on Starting Nine, Barstool Sports.
Great podcast.
Great podcast. You should listen to it. They were talking about the same
exact
Us first,
though.
Today. Yeah, of course, us first. They're probably a close second, I would say. They were talking about this thing, and they were talking about, like, I think it was Carabas that said that he can see why people in, like, the 17th game of the season, why are you bat flipping a meaningless home run? I last time I checked, no baseball game is meaningless.
Exactly.
Because every game counts in a 162 game season. Since when the fuck is hitting a home run meaningless? Yeah. How many people on this planet can say that they hit a big league home run?
For a professional baseball player to say that is it's dumb.
Since when is a home run meaningless? That's like saying, oh, you went 4 for 5 today, but we lost by 15 runs. Fuck you.
Exactly.
You had a shitty game. Go fuck yourself. No, dude. There's nothing meaningless about every single game counts. Every single game matters. Because let me tell you something. The more fucking games you win in April and May, the less games you have to win in September and October.
It makes everything a lot easier. That's why, just like you were saying, the Red Sox start. It's rough.
There's no such thing as a meaningless home run. And if you fucking hit that baseball 480 feet, I want you to flip your bat to the goddamn moon and take 3 minutes to walk around the bases.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
All right, and there's one more thing too. So baseball is struggling, obviously. They're not filling up the stands.
No.
So what do you want to do? Well, what do you think would be a good idea to get people to come to your games, watch your games? You know what I always get complaints about? Baseball is boring. Baseball is too long. This is what baseball needs to kind of take a page out of the NFL. You know what the NFL did? They let the team celebrate after touchdowns,
and it was all over social media.
Because it started to go on social media. They're crazy. They're interactive with the fans. Look what the NBA did. They let the players wear whatever color shoes they want now. The MLB, they're not really, obviously they're not strict on it, but the fact that the fans, some of these fans and obviously players are so strict about this, there's people there that are, it just blows my mind. I can't get over this.
Here's a great marketing idea, all right? In an NBA game, when a basketball player, or like James Harden, for example, when he crosses a guy up, steps back, stares him down, and then drills a three, that's all over social media the next day or within the next 20 minutes. Why? Because us humans, we love beef. Yep. We love beef.
Oh, we love drama, beef.
Guys,
yeah.
We love when guys don't like each other. We want to see guys that don't like each other. Why do you think so many fucking people watch the Bears-Packers or Steelers-Ravens? Because there's a history of those teams not liking each other. In the NBA, Russell Westbrook and Damian Lillard don't like each other. LeBron and the whole entire Warriors fucking roster, they don't like each other.
Yeah.
When a guy bat flips a ball to the fucking moon, that creates beef. And people like beef. People are going to watch fucking beef. I would be interested to see, as a baseball fan, when the White Sox travel to Kansas City, I'm going to be interested to see how that game goes. Are they going to boo the shit out of Tim Anderson? Are they going to throw at him again? If he hits a home run, is he going to pimp the shit out of it again? I want to see that. I want to see beef. I love seeing beef, and everybody loves seeing beef, and that's why so many people fucking watch the NFL and basketball, because these guys have open beef. They talk shit up to each other over social media. The whole goddamn league hates Kevin Durant at this point. So it's just inexplicable marketing. It's marketing that isn't intended, but it still happens, and that's just how both of those sports have more fans than baseball does.
And that's what this whole situation did for the MLB. They were all over Twitter 15 minutes after that whole situation did. It was on ESPN.
We've been talking about this for 20 minutes alone.
No, I know. It's been on ESPN. Adidas, the people that sponsored Tim Anderson, posted all over their social media sites. Mm-hmm. It's the thing that just, there's so much to say about this, dude. But it's just something that it blew my mind to see that people did this. They were complaining about this and that he was thrown at and kicked out. But I feel like there's a lot of people that feel the same way as we do, and it's just so weird, and just I have so many questions to ask the people that think that was an awful thing when he did. Yeah,
kind of going off your point that you said a couple minutes ago, PT, with the whole still getting fined for shoes and stuff. Well, there's a podcast I listen to. It's by Astros pitcher Colin McHugh. It's called The 12-6. It's a great podcast. He talks with his teammates. He talks with other professional baseball players. There's one that he had Lance McCullers on. And they're talking about Lance McCullers had a situation where it was Jackie Robinson Day or something like that, and he had his shoes designed. And they told him, you can wear them, but we're giving you a $2,500 fine. And this was at the beginning of his career. They're still finding people for stupid little stuff that is really meaningless when you think about the whole aspect of playing baseball. It's a meaningless fine. They're really not doing anything wrong. And like PT was saying, it just makes the game more interesting, more fun. People want to see what kind of stuff other people are wearing. That's why basketball shoes are so big. Everybody loves the designs, the colors. Well, spikes, nobody really thinks about it. Nobody thinks about baseball uniforms as much as they do about hockey or basketball. And it really should be a big part of baseball because people are going to buy your shirts, they're going to buy your shoes, they're going to buy everything that their favorite baseball player is wearing, just like how they want to buy everything that their favorite basketball player is wearing. Like, I just watched the Derrick Rose documentary. Amazing, amazing documentary. You should watch it if you can. But he was talking about how when he got mixed with Adidas and they came out with the Derrick Rose line, everybody wanted to buy Derrick Rose's shoes because they thought, oh, this is the next Jordan shoe. It's the next big thing. Just baseball needs to figure it out because they're doing things wrong right now, and we really see that come to focus with all the bat flip stuff.
Yeah, dude. Speaking about home runs and bat flips, and a guy that knows his fair share of things about hitting fucking bombs, Chris Davis of the Oakland Athletics receives a 2-year extension. I think.
Hey, I just want to say that was a 10 out of 10 transaction right there.
Yeah,
transition.
You're welcome.
Just fantastic.
You're welcome. I think it was he was supposed to be a free agent at the end of this year, so he gets a 2-year extension that's going to run through 2021. I think it's worth like $34 million. The guy right now, absolute fucking monster. I think Cody Bellinger just hit his 10th home run of the year.
Yeah, tied with Chris Davis.
Yeah, tied with Chris Davis. Davis hit like 40 bombs the year before that, like 38 the year before that. It's good that he plays in the American League because his defense kind of sucks, and he's not really your prototypical get on base average kind of guy. Was put on this planet to hit the ball 445 feet, and that's what he does. So he's getting rewarded for it. I think it's a good deal for the A's. I think he's pretty much like they're the heart and soul of that lineup. I understand Matt Olson's a good player. Matt Chapman's a good player. You got some other key pieces there. Ramon Laureano's having a solid year. But Chris Davis is what gels that lineup together. He is the most feared hitter in that lineup. He hits nukes. So, yeah, I mean, good extension for them. Good for him. He's getting the fucking money, and he's going to keep doing what he does.
Definitely a great extension. It's kind of been up in the air for the Athletics, what they're going to do with Chris Davis, what they're going to do with all these stars, because we know that the Athletics are not known for spending a lot of money. We know the movie Moneyball.
No money, actually.
Huh?
They spend like no money.
Yeah, they really don't. They build everything up. They get people from small trades. You know what? This is a great deal, and I honestly think we're going to see things kind of switch for the Oakland Athletics because they realize, free agency isn't as big as it's going to be. This is our time for us to really lock down our young core and get extensions where we'll actually get them for cheaper than they probably would be on the market.
Yeah, they're going to lock up Matt Chapman and
Matt Olson. Oh, no doubt about it.
That might be already the best corner infield duo in the entire league.
No doubt about it.
It's definitely right up there with a bunch of great corner infield duos just to come to mind. Turner and Bellinger, that's a really good one whenever Bellinger's playing first base. I mean that's probably the only one I can think of. But the A's are a really well-run team, and their only real concern right now is pitching. Obviously, their two best pitchers right now aren't even on the major league team, in Jesus Luzardo and AJ Puck. But Billy Beane's a genius. I'm not surprised he got this deal done at all. So yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of free agency, is Craig Kimbrell signed yet?
No, but he will be after we talk about this next guy.
Yep, so Arodys Vizcaíno for the Atlanta Braves. Fantastic in the postseason last year. Really been their cornerstone for their bullpen. It's not looking good. He's out for the rest of the season. So
shoulder surgery.
Yeah, so sticking with what I just asked PT, is Craig Kimbrell signed yet? It looks like there's a good possibility that Craig Kimbrell could be going home. He could be going to Atlanta.
I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, here's what I have gathered from him and Keuchel. I don't think either of them signs before June 1st, because at that point, teams no longer have to forfeit a draft pick because they both were extended qualifying offers. So if after June 1st, they won't have to forfeit a draft pick. So I would expect them to both go after them or sign after that. In terms of the Braves, if they don't call this guy tomorrow, like I understand what I just said would be thrown out the window, but their bullpen is so fucking terrible.
It is very bad.
That if they don't call his agent tomorrow, get him on the phone and be like, what is it? What do we need to get this shit done? Then I don't even know what to tell you, dude. Because they have a great young core set in place. They have a shot to potentially make some noise this year.
Definitely.
But they're going nowhere with that bullpen, and this is a huge loss for them.
Yeah, because I don't know if I ever said this on the podcast, but I know I've said it before in person. This Braves team reminds me of that Cubs team when they lost in the NLCS or the NLDS
To the
Mets. Very young
CS.
team that came out of nowhere, just like how the Braves did last year. Young team came out of nowhere. And unlike the Cubs had a good bullpen and good pitching. The Braves are kind of up in the air. That's kind of their weak spot. If they can pick up Kimbrel and maybe get Keuchel, maybe get better pitching, they're going to be a dangerous team.
I think they'll make some noise at the deadline for a reliever.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like at this point they have to, but they need to sign they need to sign Craig Kimbrel. They need to. He's elite. He's played there before. The fans love him, and the most important part is he fits an immediate need for that team.
No doubt about it. He definitely does. Now let's talk about the Mariners' streak.
Which is over.
But it was an unbelievable streak. I mean, the Mariners, we said in the preseason rankings, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to be anything. They're proving us wrong in the beginning of the season. Are they going to keep this up? Probably not, but this team has been playing very well.
They've lost their last 6 games, so.
Like I said, they're not going to keep it up.
No, but I mean, their streak was incredible, dude. I mean, I don't care if you're losing games or winning games or whatnot. You homer in 19 straight games. We just talked about 20 minutes ago how hard it is to hit a home run in the big leagues. Doing that at least once a game for 19 straight games, that's
insane.
That's an incredible contribution from their whole roster. And just that's absurd. It really is, especially when you look at the guys they have on their roster. Really, only 2 power guys, maybe 3, Encarnacion, Vogelback, and Domingo Santana. But they have like D. Gordon hitting jacks, a washed up Tim Beckham hitting jacks. They have a lot of guys that are interesting, but I just see them as guys. I don't see them as dudes. I see them as guys.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
no doubt about it. Still talking about streaks. Joey Votto's streak also ended. Listen to this.
This is probably one of the most incredible stats I've ever seen in my entire life.
So Joey Votto popped out to the first baseman yesterday. Nothing big, nothing, he popped out to the first baseman until people started digging and they found that it took 27,918 pitches and over 6,829 plate appearances for him to pop out to first. That was the first time he ever did it.
As a left-handed bat, too. That's what makes that stat so incredible, is that's his pull side, and he's never done it before in his entire career. And he's been playing in the league for like 13 years.
That's insane. Joey Votto is just, he's a good ball player.
I'm watching him right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we got, right?
Yeah, that is all we got today. PT, you got anything else to add?
Nah, just lots of good topics today. I think today was a good day.
Today was a good day. And
Joey Votto just hit a home run, so that's cool.
Oh.
Right on cue.
Right on cue. He's on my fantasy team, so
I'm gonna turn this fucking game off. Already losing. Cool.
And we're about to turn this podcast off.
Yeah, we are. But before we turn it off, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Craigslist, everywhere that you want to go. Just type in Bright Lights Podcast. I promise you'll find something very interesting. That's all we have. If you like this podcast, give us a rating, 5 stars. If you think we fucking suck, give us a 5-star anyway, because that'd be cool. And have a good one. Yeah,
just one last thing, too. If you guys have comments on any of the topics that we talk about, too, feel free to leave them in the comments of our stuff. We'd love to hear what you guys think and we like to see what you guys are thinking as well, especially with this Tim Anderson thing.
Yeah, big topic. Love to hear your voices, everything. Great episode, boys.
Great episode. Have a good one, guys.
All right, bye, guys. Have a
Peace
good
out.
one. Happy Easter.
Happy
Easter.
Happy Easter.
Perfect.